I'm Jessie Mahoney. I'm a pediatrician. I am a life coach, and I am a yoga teacher. And I usually infuse themes into yoga, but today I thought our theme would actually be noticing and feeling, which is not really a theme. It's more of a doing and more of a being. But I find that many times we're in our heads and we have all of these emotions. We don't take the time to actually practice feeling them. And so I thought that this would be a good practice and something that I felt like I needed. It's one of the things we do in yoga that we often don't spend enough time doing. And so with that, find a comfortable seat, find your sit bones, connect them into hopefully something you're sitting upon, ideally hips above the knees with your hip flexors open a wee bit. We carry a lot of held tension and feeling in our hip flexors. So one of the invitations as we begin yoga is to tilt that pelvic bowl forward. The pubic symphysis comes anteriorly and down a little bit as you do that. I've had a few questions about that. And align your vertebrae all the way up through your spine. Reminding yourself that when you align, things feel so much more peaceful. And taking in a big deep breath in through your nose, if that feels good to you, and out through your mouth. And pause for a moment here, right at the outset, to notice how you feel. Notice tension, busy monkey mind. Notice your hands. Are they resting lightly and easily on your thighs or gripping the thighs? Perhaps flip them over and notice how things feel as the palms face the sky. Perhaps let the light into those palms and let the light run up your arms right into that chest space, like a little flashlight poking around. Today, looking and noticing the feelings. Taking in another deep inhale of calm and peace and ease and slowness. And then exhale, letting go of the judgment and the heaviness and the tightness. Settling into this idea of a practice of noticing and feeling and looking around. Breathing in once again. And out. And a pause and slowness once again. Notice your shoulders. Are they all scrunched up? Perhaps shrug them up to your shoulders and allow them to drop. And notice the difference. Taking in an inhale of breath, letting it seed itself in every nook and cranny. Exhale, release, and let it go. And noticing if this feels okay, or if you would like to bring a hand to heart and the other hand atop. And attending to this idea of feeling and letting yourself feel. We spend a lot of time coming up with new thoughts to make feelings that we don't want go away. But a huge part of the work of coaching and yoga is to feel the feelings, to allow them. And I sometimes say accept and, but there's always an allowing piece too. So you always accept and allow first. You can also other things. But when we allow them is when we can really see what's there and see what we're working with and honoring who we are and all the things that are part of being human. And so today's practice is an invitation to do that. Some of you may find yourself honoring beautiful, celebratory, lovely emotions. Some of you may be honoring disappointment, frustrations. Some of you may be honoring anger. Some of you may be honoring judgment, just allowing whatever it is to be there. When we allow it to be and be seen, that's where the most beautiful epiphanies and shifts can ultimately come. And whether we notice it or not, most of the time we are resisting and managing and trying to change our feelings. And so this practice is a practice of honoring whatever they might be in this moment. And you may find that during the practice, you feel tons of different ones. All are welcome, all are accepted. None are right, none are wrong. Breathing in this idea of acceptance and embracing and willingness and openness. And exhaling, letting it out. And part of the practice in yoga is to move while you do this. And so sometimes we don't want to let the feelings come up. They don't perhaps feel safe, or we're nervous about what will happen. But as we move, we can just channel them and move them and breathe and shift them. And so knowing that you have the ability to move, the ability to breathe, the ability to decide what you want to do with the feeling when it pops up. And so, as I always say, I'm not a huge fan of radical acceptance. And this is my nod to that. We can still move it, breathe it out, shift it, tweak it slightly, but letting whatever is there be there. And so taking a moment in silence here, allowing the first bit of feelings to bubble up, taking in an inhale and an exhale, and a pause to notice. Come back to the breath whenever you need. And allow yourself to notice without judgment whatever is bubbling up. Breathing in kindness and out the judgment. Breathing in softness, acceptance. Breathing out the resistance. Breathing in curiosity. And breathing out the judgment and closed thinking. And another moment to feel. If you feel nothing or you're not sure how to describe it, just let that be for right now as well. One more long, deep inhale. And a huge exhale, letting things go. And bring your hands to heart center, rubbing the palms together, creating some heat and motion and movement with a lot of vigor today, putting whatever emotion that was in there, moving it into the hands and letting it heat up and go perhaps. And bring those thumbs right into the heart space. Allowing yourself to connect with that tenderness of the heart space for a moment, that human tenderness for whatever feelings may be there, good, bad, or otherwise. Or perhaps even not a judgment, just a whatever they are. Taking in an inhale and an exhale. And set your intention for this practice around how you want to approach the feelings, the noticing, the accepting, the allowing, the embracing, choosing your attitude and your approach for the practice. Could just be openness or curiosity. What's your intention, aspiration, or wish for what that would look like this morning? What feels right for you? One more huge inhale, hands pressing tight together, thumbs pressing into that tender heart space beneath. And a huge exhale, let it out. And lowering your hands and open your eyes. And just a moment to notice how you feel. Shrug your shoulders all the way up to your ears. Pinch them as high as you can. Tip your occiput back into them and look upward towards the sky, compressing everything, lots of sensations. And exhale, release, and notice. Do that once again. Everything pinched up towards your ears, shrug your shoulders, occiput pressing in, lots of sensations. Eyes can be open or closed. Notice what feels better. Perhaps squeezing the eyes tight, squeezing the fists tight. Exhale, let it out, release, and notice. Inhale your arms up towards the sky. Right thumb and middle finger will grab the left wrist. Reach them tall, 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 tall towards the sky. Shimmy your waist. Notice your ischial spines on the earth. Inhale, reach tall, stretch tall as you can. Exhale, tilt to the left, lengthen the whole left side body. Inhale, breathe into every nook and cranny, kindness, and also that curiosity, the little flashlight poking around, noticing anything you're carrying there. Exhale, breathe it out. Use the breath to feel. Inhale once again. Allow yourself to notice. Exhale, blow it out. Engage your belly, reach towards the center. Switch the clasp of your hands. Inhale, reach tall, lengthen the side body, do a little shimmy, a little wiggle, reach, pull, stretch, lengthen. Inhale as tall as you can, pushing the edge here of the inhale and the stretch. Exhale, tip leftward, right side gets all the delicious notice. Breathing into it, allowing the light to poke into all the corners and nooks and crannies. See what may be hiding there. Exhale, let it out. One more inhale. A pause with a full breath to notice. Exhale, release, let it out. Inhale, come back to center. Open your hands out towards the sides and reclasp them at your sacrum. Clasp the fingers together, press your fists towards the floor, elbows straight, shoulders down and back, chest pops open. Take a huge inhale here into any bit of chest tightness you might have. Exhale, drop your chin to chest and pause and notice. Inhale into all the strips of tightness in the neck and chest area. Sending softening and kindness, allowing them to feel rather than grip. Exhale, blow it out. One more breath here. Extend your fingers towards the floor, elbows extend, shoulders down and back. Exhale, release and let it out. Bring your chin back to neutral. Release your hands and shake them out. Reach your left hand towards the sky. Drop your right hand towards the earth. 5 fingers spread wide, all equal pie shapes. Press the palm to the floor. Left hip with intention reaches downward. Left hand reaches over, bends the right elbow, and feel the palm of the right hand, all 5 fingers. Your knuckles will likely be lifted off the earth. Taking a moment here to notice everything that you feel. Inhale into every nook and cranny. Exhale, bend the right elbow and breathe into the whole left side body. One more breath here, slow and easy and smooth. Exhale, let it go. Press into that right hand, reach the right arm up, drop the left hand to the left floor, spread your fingers, right hip reaches downward, right arm reaches over the right ear. Same kindness and gentleness on this side. Bend the left elbow, spread the left 5 fingers, notice the right hip, notice the right arm. Huge inhale of kindness and tenderness to every nook and cranny on the right side. Exhale, release. The inhales can be long and slow and smooth. Sometimes we don't breathe deeply, we don't want to feel. So the invitation today is to breathe long and slow and easily and deeply, allowing those feelings to know it's okay to pop open and be felt and seen here on the mat. Not always, but right now. One more breath here. Noticing that as you're here, you'll notice different things. Exhale, release. Press into your left hand. Reach both arms up towards the sky. Open your arms out towards the side walls. Wrap them in front, right under left. Give yourself a huge hug to begin. Your fingers will come to the medial edge of the scapula. Lift your elbows up over your chest. If it's in the way, with kindness. Lower your elbows to your chest. Drop your chin to chest and squeeze tight. Gifting yourself a huge hug. Allow yourself to feel it, to feel safe, cradled, held. Pause here and roll forward a wee bit more. Huge inhale and exhale. Perhaps close your eyes and inviting whatever feelings may pop up here in this squeezing held position. One more deep, long, smooth, slow inhale. Raise your chin back to neutral. Untangle your arms, stretch them to the side walls. Fingers point towards the sky, pinch your scapula together, enjoy the sensations. Tight, 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 tight. Pinch, 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 release. Drop your fingers towards the floor, reach them towards the sky. Gaze to the left hand. If it's okay for your neck, this is a kind of a nerve flossing that feels good. Lots of feelings pop up. Bring the chin back to center. But if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Gaze to the right. Pause, take a breath. Chin comes back to center. Lower your fingers towards the floor. Raise your fingers towards the sky. Wrap your arms in front once again. Opposite direction, huge hug. Bring your fingers to the medial edge of the scapula. Lift your elbows up above your chest. If it's in the way, exhale, lower down, round and fold. Huge inhale. Squeeze tight with the inhale. Lots of tightness and tension. Exhale, round, forward, release. Squeeze tight and allow yourself to feel here. Squeeze even tighter. One more huge hug, holding yourself, caring for yourself. Exhale, let it out. Bring your chin back to shoulder height. Untangle your arms. Lower them down. Roll your shoulders 3 times with kindness back and forward. Shaking your hands out. And you can take out whatever you're sitting on. If it's tall, if it's a blanket, feel free to keep it. We're going to extend the legs long in front, move the flesh of your seat out of the way. Take a moment to reconnect your ischial spines into the earth beneath you. And tilt your pelvic bowl forward once again. Knees will be bent gently. And taking a moment to align your spine. When we're aligned, things are easier. Connect with your belly and your center. When we're centered and settled and grounded, things are easier. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Wiggle your fingers. Exhale, fold forward towards your toes, coming into an easy forward fold to begin. Release the head and neck and just notice lots of sensations shifting. If it feels good, lower your knees towards the floor. Huge inhale and exhale. Once again, huge inhale. Exhale, fold forward a little bit more. Lower your hands a little lower if you can. If you can, spread your toes wide, wide, wide. Notice how that feels. Relax your toes. Point your toes. Notice how that feels. Huge inhale and exhale. Slowly slide up your shins to your knees, to your thighs. We'll sweep our feet behind us, coming into hands and knees. Knees directly under your hips, hands directly under your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, knuckles flat to the floor. Take good care of your wrists. Elbows engaged and humeral heads in the shoulder socket. Inhale for a cow pose, a big full one, feeling it all. Feel the front of your belly, feel your sit bones reaching tall, tall, tall. Exhale, round into cat, suck your belly all the way up towards the sky, feeling it. Inhale, roll into cow and feel it fully. Allowing yourself to feel in the movement. And if something you're feeling you don't like, just move it as you move. Round up into cat. And notice if you're moving fast to avoid the feeling. Let yourself move slower and feel it. Rounding into cow, arching your spine, crown of the head reaches towards the sky, sit bones reach towards the sky. Notice that front of the belly. Exhale, round all the way up into cat. High, high, high.
Come back to tabletop. Lower down onto your elbows. We're going to come into puppy pose. Walk your elbows farther forward. Spread your fingers wide. Lower your forehead to the floor and your sit bones reach back. Your shoulders should feel some things. Third eye on the floor with your eyes closed also sometimes allows the mind to quiet and you to feel. Take a pause here and notice what you feel. Perhaps shift your hips back a tiny bit more and your head a little bit closer towards the elbows. And notice if the breath has gone shallow. Coming back to deep, deep breaths. Exhale, let it out, release. 2 more deep breaths here. Seeing if it would feel good to sink in a little bit further into the shoulders. You can narrow your elbows a wee bit and notice what happens. Wiggle your rear end a wee bit. Notice what happens in the chest space. Exhale, let it out. 1 more big deep breath into every pocket of tightness. Tightness is held tight feelings, softening and giving them permission to be seen and felt. Slowly walk your elbows back towards you, pressing up 2 hands and knees. We'll come into a cow pose on the inhale once again. Undo any tightness, rounding into cat. Notice the release that may or may not be needed here. Curl your toes under, walk your hands forward, and press up into downward dog. Widen your feet if that would feel good, and take a moment to walk out the dog, especially for those of you on the West Coast. Waggle your hips. Notice all the feelings. Press your forehead towards the floor and pause in a deep downward dog. Your forehead is reaching towards the floor. Hips are the apex. Taking a moment to find one that feels good to you. Take a huge inhale here. And a huge exhale release. And pause and notice how you feel. Oftentimes upside down, we have more access to what we feel. Less ability to close it off and resist it. Huge breath in. And a huge breath out, shifting, moving those feelings. Engage your belly, ground into the left ball of the foot. Inhale your right foot up towards the sky into 3-legged dog. Press your right heel into the back wall. Belly is fully engaged and flat. And notice if your wrists need some care for a moment. Press that right heel into the back wall. Left knee is straight. Arms are fully engaged. Huge inhale. Exhale, bring your right foot between your hands. We're going to come into Anjaneyasana or a low lunge. If you need a blanket under your left knee, be kind. And notice your hips here as you come into this. Tack your right hip back and your left hip forward, and notice your front right foot and ankle and knee, and make sure that your right knee does not extend beyond your right ankle. Tack the right hip back, excuse me, and the left hip forward. Hands on your hips for a moment, allowing yourself to softly sink in. We often rush to think and feel, and pausing here, moving slowly, is the call of the day. Notice your right toes, lifting them all up and wiggling them down. Notice if you want to slide your left knee back a little bit. Notice your hands on hips, and notice if you're holding your breath. Huge inhales, pouring the breath into the front of the left hip to feel. And exhale, sink in a little bit more if it's available and appropriate. No overdoing it. Notice those back toes and wiggle them around and see what happens. Slight small shifts can be significant. They can give you access to something you weren't aware of. When you're ready, bring your hands to your sacrum
Reclasp them, press them towards the floor, shoulders down and back, and drop your chin to chest. Notice how you feel. Huge inhale into the open heart space here. And exhale, let it out, sink in. If it feels okay, close your eyes and let yourself feel. Bring your chin back to neutral. Release your hands. Reach your both arms up towards the sky. Reach tall, tall, tall. Right thumb and middle finger will grab the left wrist. Reach tall. Exhale, tip to the right an inch or so. Again, subtle is huge. Tiny is significant here. Breathe into the front of that left hip with tenderness and kindness. And notice if you're holding your breath, long, smooth, equal inhale and exhale. The depth should be equal, the length should be equal, the energy should be equal in the inhale and the exhale here. Release your hands, lower them to the floor, straight your right knee, and come back easily into the hips, into a half splits for a moment. Your toes will reach back towards your right knee, and enjoy the release in the right hamstring. We won't be here long. It's a kind way out of that position. Wiggle your toes, point your right toes, and flex your right toes towards your knee. Wag your hips in either direction. Just notice with kindness the right leg. Noticing anything shifting here. Shifting back, forward, flat onto the right sole of the foot. Curl the back toes. Coming up into a high lunge. You'll likely need to hop that back foot forward a little bit. Left hand comes flat to the floor. Twist to the right side. Open up into an easy twist. Sending some love into that right hip, wiggling the right fingers. And taking a moment here to notice how you feel. Huge breaths. Notice if you're holding your breath here. Huge inhale and exhale. 2 more ginormous breaths. Exhale, let it out. 1 more big breath. Lower your right hand to the outside of the right foot. Hop the back foot forward about 2 feet. Come into pyramid pose. Tack that left hip back and the right hip forward, and sending the breath to the back of the right leg. Lots of feelings held here. You may also notice your heart space here. Hanging light, and feelings may pop up here. Pausing to notice how you feel. If things feel intense, shift your weight forward onto the toe of your back foot, onto your heels, lift up your right toes, lower down. Tack a hip back, a hip forward, noticing. Huge breaths in and out. 1 more large, nourishing breath to that back of the right leg. As you're here longer, more things to feel. We're not stretching or loosening, we're feeling. Draw your attention to this idea of feeling. The muscles even breathing with the breath. Walk your hands forward, 2 or 3 handprints. You're going to shift your weight into your front foot, and we're going to come up into a half splits. You're going to raise your left leg up to hip height. Press the heel into the back wall and engage that right outer hip. Your hands can be on the floor. Your right knee can be bent or straight, depending on how long your arms are. If you can raise that left leg up higher and dip your head towards the floor, you can do that. If not, flat back, you're on your knuckles, fists. 2 breaths here, coming back to your center and allowing yourself to feel here. Flex the left ankle, point the left toes, roll the left ankle, and a pause to feel. Notice if you can straighten your right leg a little bit more. 1 more big deep breath here.
Exhale, release, move the energy and the feelings. Bend your elbows. Lower your left foot to meet the right, coming into a forward fold. Widen your feet wide, wide, wide to the edge of the mat. Bend your knees and sink in really fully. Hands come to elbows. Allow your head and neck to release and enjoy. Lift up all of your toes and lower them down and sway. Feel your center today. I often say find it, but use your feeling to find it. And when you've found it, pause and enjoy it. Noticing the sensations in the hips and the back. Release your elbows, bring your hands to your sacrum, reclasp your fingers, press your fists towards the sky. Exhale, release your hands towards the front of the mat and embracing and welcoming all the feelings from the shoulders. Sometimes we notice them just as pain or tightness or energy, but pausing and breathing into them as messages. In coaching, I often talk about thinking people or feeling people. And sometimes we can clarify that more in yoga too. Your brain may go to thoughts and may resist this idea of feeling. So this is a practice to allow you to notice what you feel. Noticing the messages. Huge inhale. Exhale, allow those hands to dip forward another inch or two and just notice. Lots of tension. And notice your breath. Use the breath. Exhale, release, lower. Bring your hands back to your sacrum. Lower your hands, let them run down the backs of your thighs to the earth. Engage your belly and roll up slowly, inch by inch by inch by inch. If you find yourself dizzy on the way up, take your time, be kind, and allow your body the chance to recalibrate and readjust, something we rarely do. Giving it that time. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And notice here how things feel. Potentially shifted already. Potentially a lopsided also. And just noticing. Bringing a hand to heart and another hand to top. And so, coming back to that intention of feeling. Letting what is there to be felt, what you feel. Noticing if maybe different things are beginning to pop up. Maybe that version of frustration or disappointment or exhaustion is different. Maybe the version of accepting and allowing is different. Maybe the anger feels different. Maybe the joy feels different. The excitement feels different. Letting what is be. Noticing also there may be conflicting feelings, joy and anger, and that they can both coexist. Yoga offers space for duality. It offers space for all of these feelings to course through us, whatever they may be. Huge inhale, letting our body feel all of them. Part of the human experience is to feel, but welcoming in the feeling of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. And exhale, release and enjoy. Lower your hands by your sides, wiggling your fingers. Inhale your arms out and up towards the sky once again. Right thumb and middle finger will grab the left wrist. Inhale, stretch tall, lengthen as fully as you can. Notice your feet on the floor, balls of the feet, toes, heels, soles of the feet. Inhale, stretch tall, lengthen the side body. Exhale, tip to the left with intention a few inches and enjoy the left side body. Inhale, breathe fully, spaciously into every nook and cranny, allowing those feelings, little pockets of hiddenness to pop open.
Exhale, breathing into them, softening, flushing, moving, shifting. Noticing the control and power we do have over these feelings that are there. Perhaps one more breath here. Bend the right elbow and tug the left wrist slightly farther towards the right if you have any more capacity there. Using your belly to protect your back, stand tall. Exhale, stretch a wee bit more and enjoy. Inhale, come back to center. Reconnect with your belly. Switch the clasp of your hands. Inhale, tall, tall, tall. Stretch. Wiggle all 10 toes. Lower them down. Lengthen, reach, tall. Fill yourself up. Exhale, tilt to the left and embrace everything that pops up in there. Perhaps notice the right psoas, the hip flexor, the waist, your ribs, whatever pops open here. Wiggling your fingers to add a little lightness. Inhale. Exhale, pop it open. Coming back to your navel if you feel tippy or unsteady. Use the breath to shift, flush, clean. Welcome, experience, enjoy. Exhale, breathe out. Reach your arms up towards the sky. Release the clasp of your hands. Open your arms out towards the side walls once again. Lower them down by your sides and come into Tadasana for a moment. Palms open towards the front. Lift up all 10 toes, lower them down. Engage your kneecaps, lift them up, engage your thighs, tuck your pelvis, line your spine all the way up through your neck. Reach the crown of your head towards the sky. Huge inhale. And exhale, soften into mountain pose, Tadasana, for a moment. And notice, enjoy, and feel. 3 breaths here. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. Long, smooth, purposeful, intentional. And exhale, enjoy. Feel the breath on this one. Inhale all the way. Feel the breath go everywhere. Down to your fingers and your toes. And exhale, let it out. And pause for a moment, coming back to your regular breath, wiggling your fingers. Inhale your arms out towards the sides. We're going to wrap them in front once again. Right arm under left, right elbow under left. We're going to come into eagle arms standing. As you cross your elbows, engage your navel and your belly to protect your back, tuck your pelvis. Reach your palms up to face towards the back and bring your thumbs together wherever they might reach. You will notice that eagle arm standing feels different even as you clasp your hands together. Take a moment to attend to your feet. 4 corners of your feet connect to the floor. All 10 toes lift up, lower them down. Once again, come back to the thighs, engage them, tilt your pelvis, stack your spine. Coming all the way up into that heart space, lift the elbows gently. Huge inhale and exhale, pause, elbows at shoulder height. Inhale, lift up a smidge. Exhale, lower to shoulder height. Inhale, lift up a smidge once again, as high as you can. And notice all the feelings. Exhale, lower to shoulder height. Press your elbows into each other. You'll notice a lot of sensations and emotions coming up between the scapula. The sensations are more of the physical, the pain, the hunger, the thirst. And the emotions are more, they can be pain also, but they tend to be more of the angry and the frustrated. Sometimes we mix them all up. So the practice of feeling can be very helpful. What are you feeling? We feel pain when we're angry. We feel pain when we're sad. But that pain is maybe different than a neuropathic pain. So allowing yourself to notice and experience all of this as the humanness, not something to fix. Relax those elbows if you're still pressing them together. Lower your elbows towards your belly, drop your chin into your arms and relax and feel. Ensuring your belly is engaged still to protect your back. One more breath here. Bring your elbows back to shoulder height, chin up to neutral. Untangle your arms. Lower your hands down by your sides. Wiggle your fingers. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears once again as high as you can. Drop them down and enjoy. Pinch your scapula together back. Drop your hands down and enjoy. When you're ready, inhale your arms up to shoulder height once again. Cross your elbows in the opposite direction, left under right. Coming into eagle arms here. You can grab your thumbs, your palms, whatever works for you, and come back to your toes, your feet, your knees, your thighs. Tuck your pelvis. Draw the breath up through your belly, right into the heart space. Lift the elbows to shoulder height and pause. Huge pause. Huge exhale, let it out. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Allowing yourself to feel. Feel the tightness, feel the shifts, feel the movement, and feel whatever emotions may be hidden, trapped in there. As humans, we are exceptional at trapping emotions in tight spots. Huge inhale, exhale, lower your elbows into your chest. Allow your head and neck to release. Using your belly as your friend. Embracing it. Softening and breathing. Huge breath in and out. 2 more breaths here. Bring your elbows up to shoulder height, chin up to chest. Untangle your arms. Lower them down by your sides. And 3 shoulder rolls in either direction. Always being kind to your shoulders, to your body. And a pause to notice. Wiggle your fingers. Letting things adjust. Coming back to your belly and your navel. Sending it kindness. Engaging it. Inhale your arms out and up towards the sky. Slight arch back. And we'll fold forward, forward fold. Inhale for a half lift. Notice how you feel. Back is flat, spine is flat. Exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale for a half lift, spine is flat. Once again, crown of the head reaches forward. Notice these feelings as you slide down the shins, coming into a forward fold, release the breath. 1 more half lift. Inhale for a half lift, spine is flat. Exhale, release. Lower your hands to the floor. Step back to downward dog directly and pause here in downward dog. Notice how you feel. Taking a moment to organize your wrists, organize your feet, walk the dog. Notice if any movement, hip waggling is needed. Perhaps extend your hips towards the sky, towards the apex, lower your forehead towards the floor. Huge breaths. Coming back to a engaged downward dog, wherever you might be. Engage your belly, press both hands into the earth, right ball of the foot, raise your left leg, coming into 3-legged dog. Press the right heel into the back wall, everything engaged and strong. A nice flat belly, hips parallel to the floor, heel pressing into the back wall, everything engaged. Pressing, 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 huge inhale. Exhale, gently bring your left foot between your hands, coming into Anjaneyasana on this side. Wiggle the right foot forward, wiggle the right toes forward, bend, left toes, left knee bends, does not extend beyond the left ankle. Notice your left hip, tack it back, right hip comes forward. Be kind to that right knee, hands at your hips for a few moments to allow yourself to breathe fully and soften in, not extending into the pose all the way that you can until you're comfortable. Noticing that small shifts actually allow us to potentially get farther. Tack that left hip back, right hip forward. Hands on your hips. waist, whatever feels good. 3 long, deep breaths here, softening into it. Release your hands, clasp them at behind you at your sacrum, press your fists to the floor, shoulders down and back, chest pops open, heart is open here. Send the breath to the heart space, to the right front hip flexor. Lots of breaths here. Notice if you're holding your breath, it's shallow. Send the long, smooth breaths all the way down deep into that right hip. Press your fists towards the floor, shoulders down and back. Drop your chin to chest. Notice. One more breath here. If you're noticing resistance, breathe more deeply and more smoothly. Release your hands, raise them towards the sky, and notice all of the shifts there, lots of shifts. 3 breaths here, big, long, deep, smooth. Notice if you're holding your breath or you're catching. Use the breath to feel, to shift the feelings, to let them be, to allow them. This breath is powerful. I had a medical procedure this week and I had to use all my yoga breaths, and boy, it can change everything. And so practice on your yoga mat for when you might need it another time. Lower your hands to the floor, straight your left knee. Coming into a half splits, release that front leg, release the right hip gently. Waggle your hips back and forth. Flex your left ankle, toes come towards your knee. Point your toes towards the floor. Bend your, flex your left ankle. And pause a moment here, breathe into the back of the left leg. Sending the breath and the softness there. Huge exhale, flushing it out. Lower that left foot, curl your back toes. We're going to come into a high lunge. You're going to lift up the back knee, hop the back foot forward a smidge, perhaps wiggle your back foot back. A nice long runway between your feet, about foot width-wise. Right hand will land on the earth. Spread your fingers, twist to the left side, and send some love to the left hip. Send some breath down that left arm into the heart space, rolling open. And allow yourself to feel here. Very different feeling, enjoying it. Huge drinks of breath. Notice if you're holding your breath. Your body might be saying it's had enough feeling. Just letting the feelings move around. And notice you can let them be. You don't have to attend to them, fix them, change your thoughts always. There's tremendous power in letting them be. You're actually choosing to let them be. We often think we have to manage them so they stay in control, but this choice of feeling is really powerful. Lower the left hand to the outside of the left foot. Hop your back foot forward, coming into pyramid pose. Tack the left hip back, right hip forward, legs are straight, lots of sensations. Huge breath in and out. Take your time here, shifting your weight forward and back if that feels good. Allow yourself to soften in. Notice if you're holding your breath. And if little adjustments are needed, gift yourself those. You need to widen your feet, narrow your stance. 3 more long, smooth breaths here. Last one.
Walk your hands forward, a couple of handprints coming onto your fists, if that works for you. Raise your right leg into the air to hip height, coming into a standing splits. Right heel presses into the back wall. Hips are even flat towards the mat. Your left knee can be bent if you need to, or straight, or if you happen to have blocks, then your left leg would be straight. Wiggle those right toes, sending love to the left hip, strengthening it, letting it get some attention to feel. 2 more breaths here, softening into any wiggles, shaking, tightness that you might have. Notice if you're holding your breath. Take 1 more deep cleansing breath. Lower your left leg to, your right leg. I'm very dyslexic today for some reason. Widen your feet and allow yourself to soften into a final forward fold of release. Lower your hands to the floor. We'll actually just come down to our knees here directly. Sweep your feet around and come to sit on your rear end with your legs long in front. Find your sit bones, and however you do that gracefully is fine, whatever works for your body. Tilt your pelvis forward. Belly is strong and engaged. Heart is light. Spine is stacked. Take your fingers, place them behind you, coming into Dandasana. Little cupcakes underneath your hands, shoulders down and back, knees extended, heels off the floor, toes spread wide. Huge inhale. And an exhale, release. Press your heels towards the front. Everything engaged, perhaps shaking. 1 more big, deep breath. Dandasana or staff pose. Exhale, release. And pause to notice. Bring your arms parallel to your legs and we'll roll down to the floor. If you want to get on the floor another way, you can do that too. Whatever works for you and your body. When you arrive, take a moment to feel, to notice. I invite you to try palms open towards the sky. Flip your palms over, bend your knees, walk your heels towards your rear end, press into your hands, lift your hips up into an easy bridge, shimmy your shoulders underneath you. Allow your heart to pop open, hips to reach towards the sky, and enjoy the back body for a moment. Huge drink of breath here. Notice if there's a whole lot of feeling stuck in your throat in this crunchy spot. Lift your hips up, invite the breath into the throat, into that throat chakra where a lot of us hold a lot of feelings that we never speak about. Send the breath right into that tight spot with intention, giving them permission to open up if they wish. Untuck your shoulders and roll yourself down slowly and kindly. You'll notice your throat open up here. And allow yourself to land on the earth and pause. No rush. Let yourself feel this. Bring your knees together. Your feet will come to the outer edges of the mat. The outer edge of your feet is parallel to the mat. Raise your arms over your head in an easy cactus shape, being kind to your shoulders. If cactus shape doesn't work for your shoulders, arms can be extended. Huge inhale into your heart space. Exhale, drop your knees to the right and enjoy an easy twist. Left knee reaches towards the front right corner of the mat. Two more breaths here. Allowing yourself to feel as you slow down. Notice perhaps what feels good and what doesn't. Maybe you want to not give it a judgment and just enjoy whatever the feeling is, maybe even without a name. Bring your knees back together. Reorganize your hips and your shoulders if they need it. Inhale. Drop your knees to the left. Right knee comes to the front left corner of the mat. Left psoas pops open. Right psoas pops open. Your psoas carry a lot of stress and feelings. Notice as that knee reaches towards the front left corner, if things pop up. Softening in, letting them emerge if they wish. Three breaths. Bring your knees back to center. Bring your feet back to center. You'll bring one hand to heart, one hand to belly, whatever feels good to you. Some of you I know prefer double belly, for if you've joined me at Sagrada, know that's where you like to listen. Some of you prefer double heart. So choose what feels right to you. Soles of the feet will come together, knees will come apart. We'll come into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly. If you want to put blocks under your knees or pillows under your knees, feel free. If you want to stay here for Shavasana, it's a lovely position for Shavasana that brings up a lot of feelings. If anyone is comfortable enough here to do that, feel free. It's a beautiful practice. Taking in a huge inhale here and a long, smooth exhale. And allowing yourself to soften and feel. Letting whatever emerges, emerge. Letting it be. Nothing to fix, nothing to manage, nothing to change. Just to experience and notice. For those of you who want to shift into a more traditional Shavasana, bring your hands to your outer thighs, draw your knees together, and stretch your legs long. Toes will fall to the outer edge of the mat. I encourage you to try hand to heart, hand to belly, or both hands to belly for Shavasana today too. Allowing yourself to sink right back in. Surrendering, exploring, and allowing whatever is. For anyone who wants to stay in Shavasana longer, please feel free. The beauty of Zoom and YouTube yoga.
can stay as long as feels delicious. For anyone who would like to come out, gently begin to deepen your breath. Bringing back your noticing, bringing back your awareness, wiggling your fingers and your toes. If it would feel good, take in a long drink of breath and stretch your arms long above and your toes long in front. Shimmying a little bit, enjoying the breath everywhere. Exhale, release. And roll over to one side and pause. Pause to feel. Pause to notice. Pause to embrace all that's happening within. No need to understand, explain, or change. Just welcome it in. And when you're ready, slowly press up to a comfortable seat where we began. Find your ischial spines and your sit bones. Settle back into the earth. Borrow its strength and stability. Tilt your pelvis forward, align your spine, and bring your hands to your thighs, palms down for a moment. Close your eyes if that's comfortable. Take in a long drink of breath. Exhale, let it out. And just notice. Bring one hand to heart and the other hand atop. Sending that loving, tender heart that works so hard for you, kindness, tenderness, and good wishes. Sending everyone here kindness, tenderness, and good wishes for the week ahead. Bring your hands to heart center. Press the thumbs together, palms together, thumbs into your sternum. Thank you all so much for practicing with me this morning. May you all have a week of feeling, noticing, being well, being safe, and finding a few moments of joy. Have a beautiful week.